hey, I've had horses or I have knowledge of them. It's like, no, this is literally me with my horse and this is my day to day. So I understand and I'm going to be able to help. So being in those groups and having those connections, and then how Facebook works too with top contributors and everything like that, I learned that the more you're involved, the more your responses are highlighted.
I think that's like a really interesting kind of takeaway. Like most people would look at the surface and be like, I'm going to get in these Facebook groups. I'm going to respond to just the comments when they're like, oh, I need a house.
Yep.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of My First Commission. My name's Liam and I have the pleasure of sitting down RIS Media Rookie of the Year National Awards here in Washington, DC at the CEO Leadership Exchange. Ambre, thank you for sitting down and talking to me today. You had a sensational first year in real estate. But I'm curious, why did you decide to get your license?
So I always knew I wanted to run a company for myself, kind of be in business for myself. Was going to be taking over a family company a few years back too, and I just wanted to do something for myself that I felt as though I had the achievements all on my own. I really felt that it was something that I could do. I felt like I was honest and hardworking, and I think that through the sale of my own home, it kind of opened up that window of what was real estate and what opportunities were available for me to be able to create that growth for myself.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier on, right? You got a really interesting story about you trying to find your dream home and it just wasn't clicking.
Yeah. So I use that story with a lot of people. I use it in my buyer consults. I use it for my sellers. I use it for everything. So I have horses and I was looking for a horse property for about 3 years. My agents just, not to any fault of their own, but they didn't have a horse background, and we weren't really sure how to find an agent too that was able to accommodate that. So when we were looking for a horse property, I was being shown sheds that would house your lawnmower for my horse, and my horse wouldn't even be able to walk in and be able to hit his back on the ceiling. Like, it just wasn't what a barn was to me. And so I would be always looking on the internet looking for a house, and I finally actually did find my dream property that was the perfect fit. I was able to take care of it. It was big enough, but also small enough, and it was manageable. But that's when I realized there was a gap in the knowledge base of having those specialty agents that would be able to help other people like me that is looking for a specific property type.
Yeah, and so you have this kind of moment where you're like, the help that I needed wasn't there, right? So you've already identified a gap in the market, but you were going down a very different path, right? The family business was not related to real estate, anything like that.
No, so the family business was in electroplating, and I did get my MBA while I was there as well, and I did see that as my forever path. When I was there, I was 100% happy, but I also too took another year and went and worked for another company because I just was not sure what my true path was. When I was in that company too, I was done with my work by 10:30 in the morning, and I just wanted to be outside. I wanted to have that control and that flexibility too of going off and being able to do horse shows without having to request vacation time and kind of have the control over what I was able to be successful with. So that's where real estate again came in because I could have the control. Not that I have ultimate control, but I have better control over my life now than previously when you're working a 9 to 5, because real estate is a 24/7, but you can at least fit that into your day, how it works, and still have personal time as well.
Yeah. So you have this like career change, right? How do you go about finding the right real estate school for you? The learning method, was it online, in person, live stream?
Yeah, so I did an online real estate school for my pre-licensing. I did get my Massachusetts license first. I'm actually from Massachusetts, so I figured that's where most of my business was going to be from because most of my sphere was there. I did start going out on interviews with other brokerages when I started my pre-licensing too, because I wanted to see what it was all about and I didn't know what questions to ask either. So I think I wanted to get a larger idea of where and what and how I would be able to do this. And you see other agents too in your communities that you're like, oh, I know they sell, but like I don't really see that they sell. So I also knew I didn't want to be one of those. And when I was doing my classes and all my coursework too, I did do my MBA online, so I knew I was okay with doing online studies, and I didn't want to go and have to do night classes because I know some brokerages allow me do in person at night, but I needed something that if I needed to reflect or go back or I didn't feel like I caught a topic, I could have that reference point. So I was able to do it at my own pace too, which was able to help me. And I did in 2 weeks because I wanted it done so that I could get my test scheduled and move forward.
So you did it at your own pace, but you do it like full time? Did you balance it around your work?
So I bounced it around my work. My boss would be mortified to hear that I
We'll
did it in the
make sure.
afternoon.
We won't tell him. We won't tell him. We won't tell him.
But I really just looked to see whatever free time I had, I needed to get it done. So I remember it was May and I had ordered my classwork online May 1st and I was done by May 13th. So I really got into I need to get this done because I knew it take time to get your class scheduled to
Yeah.
take your exam.
And you just said something that was really interesting about while you were doing your licensing, you went and spoke to a lot of brokerages. That's something that we hear from a lot of the schools that we go to is they have career fairs. What did you learn about the potential brokerages that you were going into, and why did you pick the brokerage that you ended up hanging your license?
So it was funny. I went for all the larger names because knew I wanted the support of that. Some of them didn't call me back when I did the request an interview, request more information kind of situation. And I went with Berkshire Hathaway and I did 3 interviews with them and it was my manager. She stuck with me. She'd text me after every single interview, every few weeks. After that interview, she'd say, "Hey, just looking to check in. Anything I can do to help? Hope you had a good weekend." It was just constant communication. Others, I felt they still had similar tools. They just all have different names to them with the bigger names. And I needed someone that was going to support me and be there. And that's what I felt I got through my office and through our office leader. So when I made that decision, it seemed to just mesh. Where Berkshire Hathaway used to have a equestrian division as well. So I thought that was going to be a good fit. And now they've kind of modified that piece of their portfolio, but it's still good because of the network that I've been able to get involved in. That if there are other properties of that type, I seem to be the agent that is getting phone calls for just a conversation back and forth of like, "Hey, what do you think?" And you've really made great connections within the company that they're seeing you as an equestrian property specialist because of what your background is. And it's not as if it's a textbook knowledge, it's real life because I live on a farm currently.
That's really cool. So you take the course, right? You do it in 2 weeks. How did you find the exam?
So the exam, it was through PSI to do the exam. And I remember you submit your paperwork and it takes forever. And I'm one of those people that does not have patience. And I kept calling every day. I was calling. I said, "Do you have my paperwork? Can I schedule for an event? Can I schedule for the test? Can I get it done?" And they'd always say, "Nope, you're still in the queue. You're still in the queue." And I called and called every day until I could finally get my test scheduled. And I did my test actually remotely as well, where they had the remote proctor that watches you. And I remember sitting there and being so nervous because I'm like, someone's literally being paid to watch me to see if my eyes go off this page or anything like that. And it was just a different experience too, because you had to be in it and study for it, but you didn't also know what application of kind of questions it was going to be either.
And did you pass the test first time?
No,
No.
no. Took me 3 times. 3 times. Am a horrible test taker, and I knew that about myself going into it too. So, I was always changing answers, and I didn't like that it wasn't telling you how many you got right or how many you got wrong either. It would just be a pass or fail.
Oh, so you don't even know how close you got.
No. So that was something that frustrated me because what did I need to improve on and what did I need to go back to in order to get that passing score so that I could just jump ahead and be able to go.
So you take 3 attempts. How long in between starting your journey in the pre-licensing to passing did it take roughly?
So I passed in July because they did have certain windows of time you had to wait in between to get back on the schedule to test. So I passed in July 29th is when I passed. And then I know I then did my reciprocal license in Connecticut as well.
So it's like 3 months from start to finish, right? That's a pretty quick turnaround to get the business up and running. And then you go to Berkshire Hathaway. Now, did you join a team?
Nope, I went in as an independent agent because that was something else that I learned through going different brokerages. I didn't know if a team was going to be right for me, and essentially that would be like working for another company in my mind. And I felt that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it on my own. So I wanted to go in and have the support that was provided to me and the different tool sets to be able to create a brand that was me, that was also backed by Berkshire Hathaway. So that's how I went in and decided I was just gonna go in, and you just have to jump, I think.
Yeah. So you jump all in, right? And the podcast is my first commission. How did you go about securing your first deal in real estate?
So what was crazy was I got my first client in real estate within 3 days of getting my license off of a Facebook group as an anonymous poster. So this woman was moving from Florida and she posted as an anonymous looking for an agent that knew about horse properties in Connecticut. And I responded and I sent over my new little social media business card and I put it there and I was like, who knows? Like, I haven't done any marketing for myself yet. Like, but you can't be hesitant. You have to start. So I sent it out. Less than a few hours later, I had a message come through on Facebook from someone that was not my friend. And she said, "Hey, I'm the poster and this is what I'm looking for. Can you help me?" And I was like, this woman has no clue that I just got licensed 3 days ago. I have no clue what to do. So I went to my leader and I was like, I need help. Where do I start? How do I sign someone up to work with me? Who do I send them for a lend? Like, how do I go about all of this? Because I wasn't expecting it to start. I thought I had to brand myself first and kind of do the back end stuff. And so within the first week, I wrote my first offer for her. And I was doing showings for her virtually too. And that was a whole different world too, because I think it helped me learn because I didn't have the pressure of having someone with me going through the house, asking questions. I had time to figure out if I didn't know from the time that I did the video and take the photos and kinda I would send, like, a little walkthrough email saying, like, as you walk through the house, and I would narrate kind of a way. So that was my first client I got within getting my license, but then I did close my first sale 2 months after with one of my boyfriend's better friends that said, "I've been looking for a house, but you need to feel comfortable with who you're working with." And he was like, "I know you're new, but I also know that if you don't have the answer, you're going to find it out for me." So it was that comfort level of being able to have someone that knew me personally, that also trusted me to help them guide them through one of these purchases. But it was one tough, tough sale. So,
Tough sale.
yes.
How so?
It was a flip house, and so, obviously, when you go through with an inspection on a flip house, you're gonna find lots of things that either they didn't take care of because it wasn't on, essentially, their punch list of things to get it listed, and I think also having a first-time buyer be your first sale as well, they have a different fear of going into a property, so different things are highlighted that to a seasoned homeowner, I guess, wouldn't see as much of a problem. So I remember going through the inspection with them, and I had about 12 inspection items that we were requesting to be fixed. And I say that agent I did that deal with was a blessing because she also knew that she could take her time and explain to me, this is how we go about it. This is how we're going to negotiate these items. This is reasonable. This is not like, and kind of went through and took her time with me too. So I feel like my first deal, although it was extremely drawn out and it was a learning experience, that it also was something that I look back at and I say, but I learned so much in that first deal that I wouldn't be able to take an easy transaction from here on out.
Yeah. So how did it feel when you handed the keys over to your boyfriend's friend and got them their first home for the very
Yeah, so I went to the closing too because I was like, I need to see this all the ways through. I've been here since the moment. And I mean, it was an up and down roller coaster trying to get to the closing. We didn't have heat in the house, we didn't have hot water, roof wasn't replaced 2 days before close. It was a nightmare. We had to open up walls because there was fire damage permits that were still open. So when we finally got to the closing table, it was like such a sigh of relief, but so much happiness for him too that I was able to create this next chapter for him in a spot that was going to allow him to grow too. So I think it was a full circle moment of I think I do have this and I am capable of doing this, but you have to be it's not like TV. It's not all happy and roses and everything's just going swimmingly. It does not go that way, and if you do have a deal that going that way, you're waiting for something to drop because it's never extremely smooth.
No, it sounds like it was the perfect one for you to kind of go in like, and it sounds like a lot of things went wrong, right? You got to see all these scenarios that you may see over one individual over 10 transactions, but you got all of them at once,
Yes.
right? And your very first time. So you talk about being licensed in both states, right? You live in Connecticut, you're from Massachusetts, so you got the two licenses. You talked about your sphere. How important is generating clients as a new agent from your sphere of influence?
Yeah, so when I got into it, everyone talks about doing your contact management and everything like that. And I had so many contacts from the corporate world I essentially was coming from that I thought if I set people up on these drip campaigns and I do emails and stuff like that, people will see my name and they'll start coming to me. And I did that a little bit in the beginning. And I was like, this is cold and it's not me. It's not branding the person I want to be in the business I want to become. So what I ended up doing was actually wiping all of my contacts out and starting fresh.
Really?
And I said, I'm never going to be someone that is a salesperson. I'm going to be someone that guides you through this, helps you, has you find a home that you truly enjoy and support you through it. And if you feel that it's not the right fit, tell me why. But I never wanted to be the person that sold you a home just to sell you a home. So I think my sphere started to shift into people we knew, people we saw out. And I think through doing different postings of the sales and success I was having, people started seeing me as that real estate person that you wanted to contact because it was genuine and it wasn't going to be you getting an email saying happy Easter with me branded on it or something like that. So I think my sphere became more genuine than what I started out thinking. The more contacts I have, the more business I'm going to get. But if no one knows who I am, they're just going to unfollow me or delete or say that they want to unsubscribe from the mail chains essentially. So I got away from that. And that's when I feel my business started to really take off.
So you change your marketing from the cold drip campaigns, the generic templated stuff. But what does that actually look like? Give me some kind of practical tips if I'm a new agent watching this and I want to try and recreate what you've done. What's the playbook?
So I essentially started going to Facebook and social media of Instagram. And what I was doing my daily life. So I was working a horse, I was riding a horse, and I'd say, oh, great time to take a few minute break to do this in between going to this showing or doing that. Or I was doing stories saying that I was in this town today and like, this is a coffee shop I found and I wouldn't have found it had I not been in this. So I think making it more personal of my daily life with having real estate intertwined in it was what started to make people be more interested. Because I think a lot of the time, too, you see people say, what is an appraisal? I feel most of the time when I'm working with a client, they care to know what it is, but they don't want a dictionary definition of what it is. They want a situation, they want a story, they want real life of that. And I think being able to generate that into your marketing and have a real spotlight essentially on what a day to day looks like was able to better benefit myself than being just branded and giving cold facts or giving little guidelines and tips too, because your clients don't know when they're getting a pre approval too. They don't know all the different steps of everything like that too. And they don't care to know most of the time too, because they want you to take care of it for them because they're hiring you to take care of it
Yeah, you're
and
the
help.
expert. You're the expert.
Yeah. So some of that knowledge just leaves them. But you also need to educate them enough to a point that they do understand.
Yeah, so you're doing this right. You're an independent within Berkshire Hathaway. You're doing your social media. You said something that we didn't that I'd love to go back to. You were posting in Facebook groups.
Yep.
What was how did that come about? Did you see it somewhere? Or you just like,
No, so I mean, I'm in the horse industry, so there's different groups all the time for people looking for things, looking to buy and sell. There's different groups that I don't know, it's just a different sense of community. And so I've always been a part of those communities as well. And if someone needs something like hay for the year, they'll say, who has a good supplier in this town? So I've always been a part of those groups. So when I became a real estate agent, I was looking into these groups and you saw a few that are branded in the area as being an agent with horses. But my difference of that too was I made a business card for social media that is a picture of me as my normal headshot. And then for these horse groups, I did one with my horse. That was my headshot. So it's not as though I'm basically saying, hey, I've had horses or I have knowledge of them. It's like, no, this is literally me with my horse and this is my day to day. So I understand and I'm going to be able to help. So being in those groups and having those connections and then how Facebook works too with top contributors and everything like that, I learned that the more you're involved, the more your responses are highlighted. So I started being active and responding to different people's requests, even if they weren't based off real estate because it also became seeing my name. And then when you do need an agent, oh, wait, I've seen her respond to this, or she's always available posting on this or that. And I think that helped grow it too.
I think that's like a really interesting kind of takeaway. Like most people would look at the surface and be like, I'm going to get in these Facebook groups. I'm going to respond to just the comments when they're like, oh, I need a house.
Yep.
Any realtors in the area, but the becoming like a top contributor is a little hack that maybe someone's going to take from this, which is really cool. I get the sense that from our conversation is that you are genuine in everything that you're doing, right? Has it been hard creating content around your life? Like, do you have like a setup like we've got here? Do you do it on your
No,
phone?
no. So that's what I'm trying to get more personal on is that most of the time you don't see me, you see my environment. And I'm trying to get more into creating content that is something that people wanna watch or that they're interested in, and I'm finding that people like to laugh. So coming into different ways of getting that piece of personality out is something that I think creates the growth, but trying to figure out how to better do that is something that I'm struggling with a little, but at the same time too, I've wiped my pages of social media from when I first started originally to now too, because you scroll through and you're like, this doesn't match, or this is what I was trying and it didn't work, but I need it to be, I'm a perfectionist, so I like things to be clean and tidy. So going through that too was kind of a shift that when I first got in, I would do the real estate posts and I'd have like two lights. And I'm like, okay, maybe people aren't seeing it or people see it. It's just not everyone's going to react or interact with what you provide. So I found through doing that, I do get more interactions. And like I said, I have horses. So I've posted too where people are like, oh, it's nice to see that you've taken time for yourself and you're not just working. And so it's the different way of viewing it too, I guess, of people do see it. And it's not always about getting the interaction, but it's about getting the viewers that you want.
Yeah, it sounds like you're pre-qualifying your potential clients, right? They know that you're an expert in the field, right? The horse. Is that something you'd recommend for a new agent? Is finding out like what niche and like the problems that you can solve?
Yeah, so I think finding where you flourish, I guess, is the best way. I know I went into it 100% thinking that I was just really going to be doing equine homes and then have typical residential homes as kind of background noise. Within that first year, it did flip because I realized that equine homes do take longer and just as I was a buyer, it does take more to find that home that is going to work for you. So they are more so something that I enjoy. but isn't my steady stream of business, but have also helped me in different ways of learning about financing and different regulations and requirements that come with lending that people don't know about different acreage caps and different areas and restrictions and learning about zoning and going through all that, that if I wasn't in a specialty of looking at equine properties, I wouldn't have dug so deep and learned so much about the research and the due diligence piece if I didn't have that start as well.
Yeah. So if you were going to look back at past you, right, before you got your real estate license, what advice would you give that version of yourself now you've been in the industry for over a year and you've had this success?
That you can take time to give a response and not everything needs to be immediate, because you can take a moment to breathe, figure out what the best path is, and also realize that it's not going to be easy by any means. But if you have the motivation of your why, is how you're going to be successful. And that people can tell if you're genuine and you're looking to sell them just a house or if you're looking to become a part of their next chapter.
So if someone's watching this, right, and they're thinking about getting their real estate license, but they're on the fence, what advice would you give them?
It's best to just do it and jump in. You don't know and you don't want to have that what if. You rather say, I've tried and it wasn't for me, or I've tried and I need to become one of the top agents in my area. But everyone's success is different too. Some agents are happy selling 1 to 5 homes a year, some are happy to do 10 plus. It's all about what you're looking to do and how you view success and what it means to you.
And what does the next 12 months look like for you? What are your goals? How do you want to keep up can you keep up this momentum that you've got? Kind of what are you doing differently this year?
Yeah, so I had a goal to hit 25 homes in my first 2 years, and I actually hit it last week.
Oh,
So,
congratulations.
thanks. So that was a great goal to have for myself when I first started, and I didn't know if it was realistic or if it wasn't. But after last year, I said, "Okay, this is realistic." I did set a goal for 25 homes for my year for this year, but I also feel that hitting the 25 in the market is a little bit different than it was last year, that I'm also restructuring how I view my business. So having those growth moments, and I've gone really listing heavy this year too. So that's another development of my career that is now expanding, that I'm looking for those buyers. I'm looking for those sellers. I'm looking to be an agent that isn't just a listing agent or isn't just a buyer's agent. I want that cohesive client and I want to be able to help everyone with that. So I think looking to just gain more personal connections and interactions and genuine connections with people is what my real goal is for the year, because as long as I'm successful for myself, that's all that really matters to me.
Yeah, and you say you're restructuring it. What does that practically look like on like a day-to-day, week-to-week basis for you?
So in my first year, I do realize that I did not have a good work to life balance. And that's where my word of advice of you can take a few minutes to respond came from. I always have my laptop on me, I'm always available. But I've also learned that when there's a family birthday party, when there's an event that you're going to, it's okay to tell your clients, hey, I'm going to respond to you in 2 hours, or this is what I'm doing, and not try and hide it from them, because going forward and having that transparency, they understand that you're a person too. I think when you are available at all hours of the day, all hours of the night, and you just open up that window for them, they start seeing you as a business and not as a person. And I think having that personal connection creates stronger referral business in the future as well. And restructuring to say, I am a person and I am looking to help you, but I also need to feel as though we have a common ground of it will all get done, but we need to work together on it and not do it immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we've heard a couple of times as we've been meeting with agents. They're like, when you're new, you're just like super responsive, right? You want
Yeah.
to answer all the questions straight away. So I think that's really sound advice. And then you said something about the market this year being tough, right? And that's obviously the elephant in the room right now, is that real estate isn't moving as quick as it was 2 or 3 years ago. Um, What challenges do you see for new agents coming into this market? Would you still recommend it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever a good time to get into real estate. And I remember when I got into it, everyone said, "This is the toughest time. What do you think you're doing?" And I said, "Well, if I can make it through now, I can make it through the next market and the next market." And I feel every season's different and every county is different. Every area of the state is different. Every agent's different of what they look for. And I think it's all just about accommodating and working through it. And I think right now, too, I mean, prices and housing, how quick days on market were and everything along that nature, it's just shifting. And I think people are scared and they just need someone that says it's okay and I'm not rushing you and you're going to find the home and take their time and also talk them off the ledge when they think a light switch is a big deal. But going through things like that, and I think going into now into the market, you just have to do it and you just have to be confident. If you're not confident, people are going to see through it.
Well, thank you for sitting down and talking to me today. If someone's watching this and they want to get in touch with you, follow your journey, how do they do it?
They can contact me through email.
How do they follow you on social? What's the best channel? Are you big on TikTok, Instagram?
So Instagram I am on, and it's sold by Ambre, and then I also do have a Facebook page as well.
Fantastic. So we'll link that in the show notes. Ambre, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think that's the pod. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
I think if you've watched this, there's a load of really good nuggets that any new agent, any seasoned agent, in fact, can get. So please make sure, like and subscribe to this video for more interesting conversations with killer real estate agents.